Worthless woman, Evelyn, my mother-in-law, shrieked, her voice bouncing off the sterile hospital hallway walls. What use are you if you can't even give us grandchildren? I sat frozen in a plastic chair, hands shaking as I held the medical report that had just destroyed my world. Tears blurred the words. Irreversible infertility, while I tried to grasp what Dr. Williams had said. James, my husband, stood next to his mother. His expression one of disappointment that stung worse than any physical injury I'd ever endured. I'm Victoria.
Ow.
And that was the day my entire life collapsed. I was 28, living in Portland, Oregon, and I had just been told I would never bear biological children. My polycystic ovary syndrome had advanced to 4 irreparable damage. After 3 years of trying, endless appointments, and desperate hope, the answer was final. We spent a fortune on your treatments, James muttered without even glancing. My way? For nothing. Evelyn folded her arms, her stare cold and piercing. I told him to marry someone capable, someone who could do her job as a wife. Each word landed like a punch. I had loved James since college and had bent over backward for our marriage and his demanding. Family? While working part-time at a local veterinary clinic, I spent the rest of my time striving to be the ideal wife and daughter-in-law, cooking elaborate Sunday meals, keeping their home spotless, and smiling through Evelyn's constant criticism. Maybe we could consider adoption, I whispered. Evelyn's cruel laugh echoed. Adoption? You think we want someone else's cast-off child? This is about continuing our bloodline, not raising another family's mistakes. When James finally looked at me, his gaze made my stomach turn. Mom's right, Victoria. This changes everything. I married you to start a real family. What's the point now? Something in me turned ice cold. The people I had given everything to now looked at me like I was defective. Our love, our life fit, all meant nothing against their obsession with genetics. So, what are you saying? I asked, though I already sensed the answer. You need to think about what you even bring to this family now, Evelyn said with a smug smile. Right now, you're just dead weight. As we walked in silence to the parking garage, I noticed something in James' face that chilled me deeper than anything, yet he was already planning something, and I knew I wasn't going to like it. Since childhood, I had always been the girl who sacrificed her needs for others. After losing my parents in a car crash at 19, I had no one. So when James came into my life during college, he felt like a miracle. Handsome, attentive, with a family that seemed to welcome me wholeheartedly. Back then, Evelyn had hidden her venom. Well, she invited me to dinners, asked about school, even helped me find my first job post-graduation. I believed I had found not just a husband, but a family to replace the one I lost. The Wilsons owned 3 successful dealerships and lived in a mansion overlooking Portland. James worked alongside his father, Henry, who had always been polite, but never opposed Evelyn. They had money, status, and strict expectations. From the moment James proposed, Evelyn made it clear grandchildren were my purpose. She often mentioned how thrilled she was to spoil them and how disappointing it would be if we waited too long. I wanted kids too, so her enthusiasm seemed sweet at first. When we didn't conceive, her tone shifted. Her comments became sharper, her questions more invasive. She scheduled a doctor's visit without my consent. It's just helping, she said with a saccharine smile. Better to catch issues early. But the treatments became a blur of hope and heartbreak, and Evelyn's patience ran out. She accused me of not trying hard enough. Meanwhile, James grew distant. More work, less conversation. He suggested I talk to his mother when I tried expressing my fears. I started realizing he was beginning to see me as broken. I felt isolated. Most friendships faded because I was too exhausted or consumed by family obligations. My coworkers at the clinic were kind, but I was too ashamed to open up. I ignored so many red flags: the manipulative kindness, James' emotional detachment, the constant pressure to prove I belonged. But that day in the hospital removed every illusion. The ride home was unbearable. James stared straight ahead. Evelyn muttered about defective women. I curled up in the back seat, feeling like a scolded child. At home, Evelyn immediately called. Henry, loudly narrating the news like I was some fraud who had trapped their son. She probably knew all along, I heard her say.
Hi.
Women always know. That was a lie. I had no idea until the doctor told us. But truth didn't matter to the Wilsons, it only mattered how they could weaponize it. James approached me in the kitchen where I sat holding the report. For a brief moment, I thought maybe we could face it together. We need to talk about our situation, he said coolly. I know this is heartbreaking, I began. But we still have options IVF. With donor eggs, adoption? No, he cut me off sharply. My mother and I talked. We think it's best if you move out. His words felt like a slap. Move out, James. We're married. This is our home. Is my family's home, he corrected. And what's the point in staying married if you can't give me children? I don't want to waste more time on a dead end. Stared, stunned. This was the man who vowed to love me unconditionally. You want a divorce? I want you gone, he said flatly. Take your clothes and personal things. The car's in my name. You can't stay here. Evelyn appeared in the doorway, smug and satisfied. We've been generous. We paid for your treatments, gave you a home, welcomed you. It's not our fault you're broken. The word broken echoed as I sat stunned, realizing everything I had built was being torn from me like it meant nothing. You have until tomorrow evening, James said coldly. I'll be filing for divorce next week, failure to meet marital obligations. Their satisfied faces ignited something inside me. They thought they were discarding a helpless woman. They had no idea who I was about to become. That night, I stayed in a cheap motel with $67 in my bank account. A small savings James didn't know about, and nowhere to go. I called in sick the next morning and began packing. James was gone. Evelyn stood watch to ensure I didn't steal anything, including our wedding gifts, and even my own books. When I reached for a casserole dish my late mother had given me, Evelyn snapped, I've grown attached to that. I'll let her have it. I let her take everything except my clothes, my laptop, and a small jewelry box with my mother's ring. The only piece I had left of my past. As I got into the taxi, Evelyn delivered her final jab. I never liked you. We're always needy. James deserves someone with real pedigree. You were never enough. Her words almost broke me. Almost. But as the taxi pulled away, I felt something I didn't expect: relief. I was free. Free from Evelyn's control, James' coldness, and their impossible standards. The next week I scoured Craigslist and job boards for motels. My part-time work at the clinic wasn't enough. But Dr. Martinez was kind. You're one of our best techs, she said. We're launching a mobile service. Would you be interested in managing it? It was exactly what I needed. A higher salary, a fresh start, and purpose. For the first time in months, I had hope. I moved into a small studio and vowed to build a life they would regret losing. I had no idea then that within 5 years, I'd be powerful enough to destroy them.